Okay, so we are talking about composing shapes. So that means when you take more than one shape to make a new shape. So it wants to use these big triangles to make a square. Now, if I divided this square here, it's not the same. So what it's asking you to do is you're going to have to make a shape first using these triangles. So these really long triangles, we're going to have to make one shape first. Okay, so we made a rectangle. Now, if we make another rectangle with those triangles, I know it doesn't look quite like a square, but you could make a square. Okay, so you'd have to make more than one triangle to make a square. Now this is just an example, okay? This is an example. The next one we're going to do together. So it wants you to use quarter circles to make a circle. Now, an easy way, this is a quarter of a circle to make a circle. An easy way to show that, I want everyone to draw a circle. Everyone draw a circle. Okay, I don't want you to put 4 equal parts, those 4 quarters together. I just want you to draw a circle. Okay. We're going to divide that circle in half. Try to do it as evenly as possible. Divide that circle in half. Brian, sit down. You need to be drawing shapes. Divide that circle in half. And then you're going to divide it in half the other way. Are those 4 little quarter circles? Yes, you divided it into those 4 pieces, just like this. If I took that and rotated it, so here's this. If I rotated it, I would get that side. See, it's not perfect, but I'd get that side, and then I get that side. See? So I took those little quarters and I rotated them to make a whole circle. Okay, now let's go ahead and go to your next problem. Okay, so these are a little more tricky because you have to do multiple steps to make the whole shape. So, the next one wants you to use these triangles to make a rectangle. Oh boy. Today's just one of those days, you know? So use those triangles to make a rectangle. But if I use these triangles, that's not quite even, you know? I'm just going to let it be. Okay, so there's one, but my shape doesn't look like that. So then I'm going to make another one. Okay. Then I would put the 2 together. So like, it would be like, well, it's not perfect because I overdrew it. I didn't space it out correctly. But it would look like that. So you're dividing the shapes, kind of like how on your problem, it was just like on your problem. Hold on, let me grab it. It was this one. So this one right here, see how we divided it into different shapes? That's the same thing you're doing here. So you're going to draw this shape and divide it. I think that's the easiest way to do it. I don't know why they're making it difficult on all y'all. Okay. Okay. So now the next one, we are going to make a rhombus, like the book has it. And we are going to use two shapes. I want everyone to draw that rhombus. Everyone draw the rhombus. I feel like I'm failing. Okay. Now we are going to use, let me get out some shapes. We are going to use a trapezoid and a triangle. Okay, we might use more than one to make a rhombus. Okay, now, no way I put this together. I mean, a little bit if I did it this way. But that's not really, this shape right here is not that shape. So, if I put these two shapes together, I can make a really big triangle, right? I can. What's a way to make two really big triangles in that rhombus? Yeah, there you go, good. What's a way to make two really big triangles in that rhombus? You can divide it in half. Like that. Okay, now I have two really big triangles, right? I have a really big triangle here, I have a really big triangle there. If I took this shape and put it here, I could show that I used a trapezoid and a triangle. Same thing. You could put a triangle here. This is why I want you to use those links I sent you. Oops. In the the links I sent you in the announcements page to like manipulate patterns blocks when you're doing this big ideas math stuff, because you could have that up on your iPad and you could be doing your work in your workbook. So you could have both up at the same time. So that is one way to use trapezoids and triangles to make a rhombus. Okay? So I had to use patterns blocks for this one. Okay? I know it's confusing. So I used two trapezoids here. So I could literally show you by using these. So I have triangle here, but if I put this is where pattern blocks help. If I put that right there, this shape is that shape. Okay? This is the same thing. Okay? So you're using shapes to make a new shape. Okay. Next piece. I would like you and try and make it fit. We're going going to use shapes, and I'm going to put a whole bunch up here on the board. I want you to tell me which of these shapes, a rhombus, a trapezoid, a triangle, a hexagon, a parallelogram, or a diamond as they sometimes call it, a square, or a rectangle, or even a pentagon, can go in that shape, this shape right here, 4 times. Which of these shapes over here could go into this shape 4 times? This is where patterns blocks help. George, what do you think, dude?
Triangle.
A triangle, right. If I take these triangles, and I'm going to get 4 triangles, and I put them in here, I know it's not exact, but 4 triangles can make a big triangle. So like, see, I made a trapezoid here, and then you can make a big triangle. So for example, come on, you would draw a triangle here, and then a triangle here, and a triangle here. Not perfect. It kind of looks like an infinity stone symbol, if anyone likes Avengers. So you can fit 4 triangles into that big triangle there. I have this triangle, I have this triangle, I have this triangle, and I have this triangle. I have 4 triangles that make a big triangle. Okay? Some of you did that yesterday. You told me that 3 triangles make a trapezoid. So if you put 1 more triangle on top, it makes a bigger triangle. Alright? Okay. Now, let's go ahead and I would like everyone to draw a rectangle. Everyone's drawn a rectangle. I would like you to use different shapes to make that rectangle. Show me how to make that rectangle using different shapes. So I want you to make this rectangle right here using different shapes. So like So I want you to make that rectangle using different shapes. So you're going to break the shape apart into different shapes. Okay? So you're going to draw the lines in the rectangle. Zoe, question.
I used 4 squares.
Cool. I'll have you show me in a second, okay? So you're going to break this rectangle. You're going to use shapes to compose a rectangle. So think about what shapes you could use to make a rectangle. That's what I need to do. I need to drag it. That's not a rectangle. a rectangle. That's not a rectangle. Alright, show me your work in 3, 2, 1.
Show me your work.
Yeah, good. So you can divide it into a bunch of different squares. I saw some people divide it into these L-shaped triangles. I saw some people divide it into a equilateral triangle and then these big other triangles. You could have also divided it into 2 squares, right? I know mine don't really look like squares. You could have also divided it into, some people did this. They did little rectangles, and then some friends did squares, okay? But some friends only did 4 squares, and I want to show you with your patterns blocks. If I combine 4 squares together, I make a bigger square. So if I combine 4 squares together, because this side's the same as this side and this side and this side, this is a square. You would have to use 6 squares. Do I have another square? I don't have another square. You would have to use 6 squares, so there would have to be another square here to make it a rectangle. Okay? All right.
Miss Cooper,
Yep.
couldn't you line them all starting up and then line them down in a row to make a rectangle?
Yep, you can do that too, but see, like, when it's like this, yeah, you could do this too where it's all straight up and down. But if this is like this, it's because this is 1 square, so that's 2 squares, 1 square, 2 squares. So these lengths are the same. So that's what yeah, but you could also do it like this, where you line them all up down the bottom. Okay, last one, I would like you all to draw a hexagon. Okay. And I want to know, what shape could you use 2 times to make a hexagon? What shape could you use 2 times to make a hexagon? So you're only going to use 2 of that shape. And it's not going to be a hexagon because that wouldn't work. So I'm going to use 2 of a shape. That's not right.
What do we do when we're done?
When you're finished, put both your hands on your head. That's not right. That looks like a rhombus. Ooh, you can use 2 triangles to make a rhombus, but that's not right. Can't use 2 squares. That doesn't look right. Ah. All right, show me your work in 3, 2, 1. Yeah! Gage, what shape is that you can use 2 times to make a hexagon?
Trapezoid.
A trapezoid, that's right. You can use a trapezoid 2 times to make a hexagon. Now, last one. I know I said that one was the last one, but I want to do one more.
Miss Cooper,
I would like to know which shape you can use 6 times to make a hexagon. So we just did a trapezoid, which you can use 2 to make a hexagon. What shape can you use 6 times to make a hexagon? Well, you can divide your shape 6 ways. Across that, those are opposite corners, opposite corners, opposite corners. I know that dipped down, that shouldn't have. That should have went through the middle. What shape can you use 6 times? I drew 3 lines. I did opposite corners to see.
What do we do when we're done?
Put your hands on your head. What shape can you use 6 times to make a hexagon? I want to see your work. Good. Show me your work in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Show me your work. I need to learn how to say that in Espanol. Okay. Those aren't all the same shape though, Zoe. They're all different shapes. So you'd have to make it all be, it can only be one shape, Vita. It can't be different shapes.
They're rectangles.
But they're not rectangles. Because if I had this here, that's a trapezoid down here. That's another, that's almost a parallelogram. That shape is this shape right here. A hexagon. So they're not the same shape. It has to be all the same shape. So a triangle is what you can use 6 times to make a hexagon. The hint was that when we use our trapezoids, we use 2 trapezoids to make a hexagon. Well, you use 3 triangles to make a trapezoid. So if you use 3 triangles to make a trapezoid, if you use 2 trapezoids, then 3 plus 3 is 6. So that was the little hint that was there. But those shapes aren't all the same. So that's why it has to be all the same shape. Now if it tells you to use a different shape, you can use a different shape. But you have to make sure that it's telling you to use more than one shape. If it's only asking for one shape, which shape can you use 6 times? It has to be the same shape.
3 rhombuses make a hexagon.
3 rhombuses do, but I asked which one made with 6. You're right, 3 rhombuses do make a hexagon, but I was asking which one could you use 6 times. So I see 3 rhombuses here. That's what she's talking about. Bye. Love you.
Love you too.
That was right there. That makes a hexagon right there. So those 3 make a hexagon. Alrighty, that is all for our math lesson. Today you have something very similar for your seesaw activity. Make sure that you are following the directions and look at those announcements. They should pop up above your announcements page, but look at those links for patterns blocks. They'll help you out, okay?